Yes, that's what I'm doing. Sport-specific strength training for boxing, and you get a lot of that sport-specific strength training and conditioning. Only challenge with that is that many times sport-specific strength training can lead to sport-specific injuries. If you have a look at a boxer, for example, Ali, or anyone who boxes, how many times in training do they do that movement, hitting the heavy bag, hitting the speed ball? How many punches do they actually throw? And when they throw those punches, it's a very specific movement in a specific plane with specific forces and acceleration that puts a specific stress across the joint in the same movement pattern. So if you do that repetitively, then you're going to increase your chance of a repetitive injury, a wearing out of the joint or the tendon. Now that's just a part of sport, I understand that. But why would you want to go in the gym then grab a load and overload that specific movement pattern and put a heavy load on it and actually accelerate that wearing out of that joint? So many times sport-specific strength training can lead to sport-specific injuries, when really what you really need is to rest the joint from the many thousands of punches or many thousands of golf swings or many thousands of tennis serves that they do in training. And when you do go in the gym, rather than add to the wearing out of the joint, why don't we try to protect the joint by working the muscles that stabilize the joint so you can safely do those specific movements. So that would be a good general strength training program, not just targeting the agonist muscle groups that contribute to the movement pattern, but more importantly the antagonists or the opposing muscle groups that stabilize the joint so that you can continue to do that movement while protecting the joint. So rather than go in and most sporting movements are so complex, whether it be a golf swing, whether it be a punch, a tennis serve, a baseball throw, they're so specific. So how can you even try to replicate such a complex movement in a gym using a dumbbell or using a cable or a machine? Well, you can't. You're better off using that time to go and do more specific training in the sport itself. And when you go into the gym, do some good general strength training to try to rebalance all the muscles, strengthen the muscles that need strengthening, which many times might be the antagonists, which are like what we call the eccentric working breaks. So when I throw a ball, the agonists are the pecs and the delts and the triceps to throw the ball, but the antagonists are the opposing muscle groups that slow the movement down once I release the ball so my arm doesn't dislocate out of my shoulder joint, which will be the opposing muscle groups, which are now going to be more my lateral rotators. So when I throw a ball, it's your medial rotators, such as your pectoralis major, latissimus dorsi, and subscapularis, one of the rotator cuff, and it's your lateral rotators that control the movement in the follow through so you don't injure the joint, such as the infraspinalis and teres minor. So rather than working the agonists more, because they've got plenty of work in the sport, you may need to work the antagonists where you're doing the opposing muscle groups to restabilize the joint, put the joint back into balance, and to, if anything, the agonist muscle groups or the muscles involved in the sport probably need to be a little bit rested because they get lots of work anyway. So just be careful when you go down that path of, hey, there's a sporting movement, I'm going to try to replicate that in the gym under heavy load, and all you got to do is increase the chances of getting heavy injuries because you're already loading a joint that probably needs recovery from all the repetition of training that it's done in training. And all it basically needs is rest, stretching, and some good general strength training to get the joint back into place and back to being more stable so you can go and continue your sport, because an injured athlete is no good to the sport, and that would be no cow poo.